Hi guys, welcome back to a new Boom Beach video. Today I'm gonna try a challenge I haven't tried in a very long time. The 16 maxed out mechs versus my players on my map. Now the reason I haven't is because mechs are kind of garbage, but the last update they got a buff. I don't think it was that substantial, but we're gonna try it out. We're gonna see how well it works, and we'll see if we're able to defeat any players, which would be a miracle. So let's grab energy drink instead of taunt. I think, yeah, this is gonna be very interesting. But we'll start out with this little level 59 player. We also don't have enough energy to drop all of our troops. Maybe we should boost up one Gumbo energy statue just so we have enough energy. Otherwise, it's gonna take even longer to get through these players. It's already gonna take a bit. So last update, the mechs are getting this, like, it looks like they're shooting a shock, but it's not a shock. It's kind of like the cryo-near freeze. Obviously it's not as significant. Defenses are still firing, but it does slow them down a little bit. I really think it's not much, but it's something they can definitely buff in the future if they feel like the mechs are still one of the weakest troops, which, if I'm being honest, they are one of the weakest troops. I made a Boom Beach tier list video, and mechs were probably D tier. The only troops that really beat out the mechs were some proto troops and the medics. You guys know my hatred for medics. Also, they are having some issues, jiggling around too much. Okay, we were gonna boost up Gumbo energy. Yeah, I don't think medics are very good. You guys know this. I've talked a lot about my hatred of medics with you all. Okay, I'll go into it just very briefly. I think that the combinations that people bring the medics with are better off just not bringing the medics and instead bringing the extra troops. I guess the one combination I really haven't tried this with is the RZCM, the Rifleman, Cryoneers, Zukas, and Medics. That's the only combination I really haven't played with too much, so I'm not sure if that is the case for that. But for tanks at least, T-Med, that used to be a massive combination. Now it's rarely used by top players. I haven't seen a top player use T-Med in a very long time. And it used to be the best Boom Beach troop combination, but people just get better at the game. They find better combinations, and we move on. So that is why I don't like medics. So this is actually pretty bad. The Doom Cannon is hitting my hero, but I really need my hero to hit the core, so the Doom Cannon and these other Boom Cannons are only hitting my troops. I'm gonna lose this. I'm not gonna win. The Doom Cannon just dealing a little too much damage. I don't really know if I could do anything differently on this base. I mean, it's a strong base. There's a lot of prototypes. That's the main issue, I think, with that base design. There's just too many prototypes. Also, he didn't really have any loot, so I just found a new opponent. And we'll see what this goes. This is a lot easier. One of the downsides with this combination is mechs are very slow, and if they're stuck in this whole shock craze where they get shocked and then they have to deal a little bit of damage and then they get shocked again and then they are able to deal a little bit more damage, it doesn't really go anywhere because they don't deal a lot of damage. That's another issue I have with the mechs. They just don't deal a lot of damage. It's more of a support troop, I feel like. It's something you would bring with Bombardiers. It's something you would bring with tanks, maybe Grenadiers. It's not something you would just load up and bring by themselves. So you know what? Instead of doing this whole video with 16 maxed out mechs, let's actually use them how I think I would use mechs. Now that we understand them a little bit better, this is probably one of my 10th attack using mechs in any combination, and I really haven't played with the mechs outside of doing all mechs, so I don't really know what kind of troop they go well with. Let's test it out. We'll bring Bombardiers, and I think we'll do an attack with tanks as well, because I think this combination with tanks might stand a chance. The only issue I kind of see is the tanks might stand a little too close to the mechs and just get caught in the crossfire, but we'll see what happens. Okay, we'll load up 4 boats, I think, of Bombardiers. Bombardiers, one of the troops with the most amount of damage, along with Mechs, one of the troops that have the least amount of damage per boat. Pretty close to the rifleman, probably. I haven't run the math, but that's just what I would guess. Okay, so get my hero, get my Mechs, get my Bombardiers. My Bombardiers will walk faster than my Mechs, so luckily I have my hero out in front. Otherwise, I might have lost a few Bombardiers, but instead we're sitting good. Okay, we're gonna shock the Doom Cannon, shock the shock launcher. I need my Mechs to get in front of the troops and stay in front. They're standing very close to my Bombardiers, and that is not something you want when you're picking a good tanking troop to use with a damaged troop. So a damaged troop would be like Bombardiers, Grenadiers, Zookas. A tanking troop would be like Scorchers, Mechs probably, Heavies, that sort of thing. And you really want them to stand as far away as possible. So obviously, like with Heavies and Zookas, you can't really stand that far away, but Heavies and Bombardiers, that's why that combination is just so freaking powerful. It's because the Heavies are a very close range troop and the Bombardiers stand pretty far away. So I gotta give it to this base. It worked pretty well, but I don't know if it would work better with Mechs or if it would work better with Scorchers. That's another one of my main issues with Mechs. They are just a little bit worse than Scorchers in everything. I mean, obviously Scorchers don't deal or don't slow defenses down or shock them at all like the Mechs do, but Scorchers have more HP, they deal more damage. I just don't see any reason why you shouldn't, or why you should bring Mechs over the powerful Scorchers. The Scorchers are just so good. Like if you have 16 of them, it's really good, but even if you only have four boats of Scorchers plus 4 boats of Bombardiers, that's a strong combination. Okay, I forgot I was gonna attack using Mechs and Tanks. I am a little bit worried this is my last player base. So let's hope that's not the case. But I have to give it to this combination. Like, it's obviously working well. The Mechs are staying alive. You can't revive Mechs, so you can't bring Dr. Kavan's second wind with the Mechs. I don't know if that's a hero you'd want to bring anyway, because once all the Mechs die, like, he'll be standing between them. Same with the Scorchers. Like, you could bring Dr. Kavan second wind with Scorchers. He could revive Scorchers, but I don't think that's really the right troop to use. I think Bullet Energy Drink is better, just providing a little extra barrier between the defenses and your troops. The reason why I don't bring Energy Drink when I have Dr. Kavan, or when I'm using Heavy Bombardier, is because then my hero plus my troops stand at pretty much the same distance. Versus here, my hero is going to stand a lot closer to the defenses. So there's kind of like 3 levels to my troops. I have my hero, which is up front. I have my Mechs, and then I have my Bombardiers. And my Bombardiers are safe from a lot of things. It's very hard to lose your Bombardiers. But I believe that was probably the last player base on my map, which I'm a little disappointed about. I definitely want to do a more in-depth video. Let's end up doing a resource base, because I really want to try the Mechs plus the tanks. And I know a resource base is a little bit skewed, but I want to see how well this combination works. So we'll just scout out a few. I want to find one that's difficult. This one looks pretty tough. No ice, which is good. Get my hero out, get the rest of my troops. There's a lot of boom cannons. And I really can't compare this to any other, to a player base, because obviously, like, this is a resource base, not a player base, so I can't really make that comparison. Like, oh, if I lose this, it doesn't necessarily mean this is a bad combination. But if I win, then it's pretty good, I feel like. I mean, obviously, this is a pretty easy resource base with no ice. There's a lot of resource bases at this level that have 100% ice boost. So I have a few of those on my map. That's not good, but something that doesn't have ice, it's going pretty well. But again, like, I don't know why. It just doesn't look like it's going well. And I think the issue is here, my mechs are just dying too fast. they have too little HP. Their HP is not that much. It's 28,000, I believe, which if you have a bunch of defenses hitting a bunch of mechs, like, their mechs are gonna die pretty fast. So I think that was the main issue, and then the tanks behind them just got slaughtered. So same thing would have happened if I brought heavies. Like, if I attacked a base, I had a lot of heavy, or had a lot of defenses, my heavies would get fried, and then my bombardiers would die. But with heavies, you have more of them, so it forms more of a line, so it's a little bit harder for the defenses to target your bombardiers. Versus mechs, if you lose 4 mechs, you could be exposed from the left-hand side, for example. So I don't know. I can't really make any conclusions, but I definitely feel like bringing a different troop, a tanking troop, with the mechs is the way to use them. Obviously, we saw at the beginning of the video that all mechs is not a very good combination. But if I had to say, the best combination for mechs is probably the Bombardier mech combination. I'm very surprised at how well that worked. But guys, look at this, all maxed out sniper towers, all maxed out rocket launchers, and now what should I do? I really want to do my cannons, and I might just farm that up. That's not very much, so I'll farm that up offline. Actually, that should get us very close. Let's just gem that up. There we go. Another cannon going to max. We'll get that popping. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please drop a like if you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you guys in the next Boom Beach video. Bye.